Hi, my name is Zarina Matcha and you are watching Non-Feminist Gal. The mainstream Western media tells us that feminism means that men and women deserve to be treated equally. Yet the idea of equality under the law comes from classical liberalism, not feminism. Moreover, history has shown us that feminism was never actually about achieving gender equality. A large part of post-60s feminist theory includes asserting that women are oppressed under patriarchy. Feminist theorists like Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, Julie Bindel, Judith Butler, Jeanette Winterson, Andrea Dworkin, Germaine Greer, and many, many more all asserted that patriarchal theory is a large element of feminism. The desire to overthrow the patriarchy is what distinguishes contemporary feminism from early women's thinkers. In this video, I'm going to give 3 clear reasons as to why feminism is not actually a movement for gender equality. It is a lobbyist movement that seeks to grant women special privileges on the basis of false victimhood and claims of female oppression. I believe that those who truly believe in gender equality should embrace egalitarianism, not feminism. Before I continue, I am aware that plenty of feminists do believe in genuine gender equality. Individual feminists like Christina Hoff Sommers have called out the hypocrisies of the contemporary feminist movement. But I'm not talking about individual pro-equality feminists. I'm talking about the widespread mainstream feminist lobbyist movement. Number 1, etymology. The best way to understand what the word feminist means is to actually look at the etymology, which is the meaning of the literal word itself. The first part of the word feminism is femme, which means women in Old French and comes from the Latin word femina. The second part is ism, which means doctrine, philosophy, bias, or school of thought. So the word feminism literally means women's doctrine, or women's bias, or women's philosophy. There is a reason why it was called the women's movement. Feminism has always been a movement for and about women, specifically feminist women, but women regardless. Furthermore, if we look at the word patriarchy, words like patriarch, patrilineal, or even padre in Spanish, this word represents men, commonly fathers. Feminism represents women, the oppressed class. Patriarchy represents men, the oppressor. The goal of feminism is for women to collectively overthrow the male-dominated patriarchy. That is what feminism means, not achieving gender equality. This is why we have the word egalitarian, which literally means believing in equality for all people. Egalitarian, equality, equity. Looking at the words tells you what the meaning actually is. If feminism simply meant gender equality, then why would we have 2 different words? Why would we need one word for feminism and another word for egalitarianism if the 2 were synonymous? Feminism deals specifically with women's lobbying. Egalitarianism deals with equality between the sexes. Number 2, feminist groups do not lobby for men's rights and often label men's rights activism as sexist. If feminism were really about achieving gender equality between the 2 sexes, then feminism and men's rights activism would be working together. In fact, they would be companion groups. This is not the case, as a great amount of feminists view men's rights activism as misogyny. Obviously, there are genuine misogynists among men's rights activists and the Men Go Their Own Way movement, but a lot of these men are simply campaigning for the rights of men. Cassie Jay, an American filmmaker, actually made a documentary called The Red Pill, which involved looking at the men's rights activist movement. I really recommend watching that documentary in order to gain some more insight onto feminism and men's rights activism. The entire Men Going Their Own Way movement and men's rights movement was a social backlash against the anti-male aspects of feminism. I'm not excusing genuine misogyny, but I'm saying that it's no coincidence that these men's groups have only gained in power after the rise of feminism in contemporary Western societies. Crises affecting modern men include porn addiction, higher suicide rates, longer prison sentences, overwhelming male prison rape, which is an actual rape culture that goes largely unreported, boys underperforming in schools compared to girls, boys being less likely to attend university, paternity fraud, losing out in child custody, and of course the pressure of maintenance or alimony in America when one is going through a divorce without a prenup. Number 3, women already have equal rights to men under the law in most Western societies, such as the UK, So what exactly are feminists lobbying for? In modern British society, women have equal pay, contraception rights, and are more likely to be better educated than men. This is the same for most contemporary Western and First World societies. So what exactly are feminists lobbying for? What legal rights do women not have in the West? Women have equality of opportunity. We are given the same rights and opportunities as men in the UK, sometimes even more so, what with quotas for women and the like. Being a woman in this society is wonderful, especially compared to societies where women have little to no freedom. The only people that tell women that we are oppressed are, ironically, feminists. Before feminism, no one thought that women were oppressed. Yes, of course, women have had to deal with sexism, just as men have had to deal with sexism, but this was never the result of a conspiratorial systemic patriarchy that was built in order to keep women down. Feminism is lobbying for equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity, and equality of outcome is a Marxist-based idea. Equality of outcome can never be achieved unless you instill authoritarian principles on members of society to force everyone to conform to what the state wants. If you believe in total individual freedom, then you can never have equality of outcome. But this is a good thing. People are different. People have different skills, wants, and needs. Equality of opportunity means that everyone has the equal opportunity to choose what they want to do in their lives. However, if we have more people in one area of life and less people in another area of life, that shouldn't matter as long as everyone has the option. Just because someone calls themselves something doesn't mean that's what they actually are. People use language as a way to distort meaning in order to manipulate others. The UK Women's Equality Party is a feminist party, but saying women's equality or women's liberation sounds more favourable than feminist. The British National Party would never call itself a white supremacist anti-immigration party, even though that is what it actually is. And by the way, I'm not comparing feminism to the BNP, I'm just making an example of how somebody saying something doesn't mean what it actually is. Supporters of Zionism say that it's simply about Jewish emancipation or means that Jews have the right to a homeland. Yet critiques of Zionism know that Zionism is actually a Jewish ethno-nationalist movement and that Israel was created not to empower Jews, but to give power to Zionists and murder millions of Palestinians in the process. Zionism does not represent all Jews, just like feminism doesn't represent all women. I will note once again that I am aware that independent feminist organizations do genuinely positive work and do help women in cases of things like domestic violence, rape, and the like. But once again, I am talking about the broader feminist lobbyist movements, not the small independent organizations. Lobbyist movements that are funded by the UN Women and the National Organization for Women. Movements like the He for She movement and the Me Too movement. These are all examples of feminist lobbying rather than trying to achieve actual social harmony between the sexes. But what do you think? Is feminism actually about gender equality, or have I simply misunderstood? Please let me know below, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to join my group Liberals Against Feminism for those who have liberal views and also disagree with feminism.